Plaintiff Stormy Nolan says the defendant is her brother, and they were roommates for several years. Stormy claims after she moved out, the defendant got into some trouble with the law, and she's suing because she added her brother to her cell phone plan, but he has failed to pay. Defendant Willie Nolan says once Stormy moved, everything went downhill. Willie admits that he got caught up with the wrong crowd and served 10 months in jail. And he's countersuing because he claims Stormy called his probation officer to report him.
Start with you.
Well, I've known my brother all my life, of course. You know, we're 2 of 8 children. My grandmother raised us in Cleveland, Ohio. After that, we soon moved out together, and we lived with each other for like the majority of our early adulthood.
Okay, why did your grandmother raise you guys? Drug addiction?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I wanted to make that point, because we have 2 generations of people who have been destroyed by crack, which was primarily an inner city drug. Mm-hmm. 1, the crack addict. 2, the child born to a crack addict who was abandoned by the mama for crack or the daddy. And then really 3, the grandmother, the grandparent who might be up in age, or they've done all the raising of all the kids they want to raise, but now they have the burden of some more, or the joy. It was a joy for her, but it was also an unexpected obligation. And so that's 3 generations crack really hurt and destroyed the 2. But you've overcome it. Obviously, you both have, so it doesn't quite destroy it totally. They destroy themselves, and they certainly, at the very least, interfere with the growth and success of the child. I'm being instructional at this point to those in rural and suburban America where the opioid epidemic is currently present. I'm being instructional that hope you don't do it like you did the inner cities with crack and just let it flourish and then lock everybody up. And instead you intervene. And I see some of that intervention coming on, because otherwise you're about to destroy 3 generations in the suburbs and in the rural areas with opioids. The opioid user, the child born to an opioid user who might be opioid addicted, the child in their system. And thirdly, the person who has to take care of the child. So that's what I wanted to point out. Sorry for interrupting you, but that's why I asked you that, because I think it's very important that this country understands that 3 generations of inner city people were destroyed by crack, and you're about to have 3 generations of suburban and rural people about to be destroyed by opioids. But they are making enough of a noise now about opioids for it to be on the downslide. All right. Go right ahead. So you all were raised by your grandmother. Yeah, you all moved out and lived together. Good.
Yes.
And how did that go?
It was fine. Like, we leaned on each other back and forth. And he's a hard worker, but then he started kind of hanging with some people, getting in a little bit of trouble, and then he caught a case. Mm-hmm. And once he caught that case, he did 10 months in jail. Okay. After 10 months in jail, he got out, and he was doing really, really well, you know, self-employed, just rehabbing houses, doing what he does. Good. He does a great job, actually. And, you know, May, I believe, he caught another small case, of which basically they were saying he was being a nuisance. That's it, talking to the police officer.
You'll give me some background, sir.
Well, in 2012, she moved away from me, and I kind of went downhill.
Why?
He missed me.
You sound crazy. Why? You don't go downhill just because your sister, who was your roommate, leave. That sounds like to me you were more dependent on her to survive. Go ahead.
Well, she moved away. I went downhill, running with the wrong crowd. I got convicted of 3 years to prison, but doing so well, they let me out in 10 months on a judicial release. So with all of that happening, I came home, my sister got me a phone. So
now, what did you do when you came home? Were you skipping? You jumping ahead?
I started back rehabbing houses.
Good.
And cutting grass.
Good.
In 2012, she moved away from me, and I kind of went downhill.
Why?
He missed me.
You sound crazy. Why?
Being
You gonna
enough,
go downhill just because your sister, who was your roommate, leave? That sounds like to me you were more dependent on her to survive.
Plaintiff Stormy Nolan is suing her brother, who claims after Stormy moved away from him, his life went downhill and he ended up in prison for 10 months.
Go ahead, ma'am. Tell me about the phones you're suing for.
Okay, so the phones. I got phone line in February, and I added him to my line or whatever. The agreement was for him to pay me $150 a month, and that will cover, the bill as well as the contract, the payments on the phone.
Okay.
I ain't
And
got
what
no
did
money.
happen?
Huh?
What happened?
I ain't got no money.
The last time you asked him to pay the bill, what has he said?
That was in August, and can I refer to let you know exactly what was said? I know here I was telling
Yeah,
him.
she asked if she can refer to her notes, and that's so professional and dignified. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
See how well you grew up, despite your obstacles?
Yes.
I'd like the people to see this. Grandma did a great job. What's your grandmother's full name?
Ernestine Pope.
Ernestine Pope?
Yep, Big
with
Mama.
a P? All right. Big Mama Ernestine Pope did a great job with you.
Thank you. So,
The jury is still out on him until the end of the case. But so far it appears that she did right by him too. Go ahead.
so here, I text him once and told him to give me a date and when he can pay me. And
What'd he say?
he told me he was at work.
Let me
Just
see
kept
it. Okay. Let me see the last comment regarding
the very
phone,
last or okay.
in terms of his response to you asking for your money. Sir, you tell me what's going on.
well, my sister asked me to pay the phone bill, and I told my sister I was going to pay the phone bill. But in the midst of that, I got into my little event. So I was going back and forth, and I had to pay a lawyer for that because I'm on probation from my judicial release. So I did miss a couple months of the phone bill, but at the end of the phone bill, I felt like I shouldn't pay because she turned my phone off. And
For the time you used it, the minutes you used, you don't think you should pay for the minutes used?
I got cash out receipts where I sent the money to her.
And to pay for all the back minutes that
Yes.
you owed.
Yes.
Ma'am, he says that he paid up until the time you
I
turned
turned
the phone off.
off like 3 weeks ago at the most.
Sir, do you know when she turned the phone off?
I'm about to tell you right now.
That's right, doctor. Look at them text messages. Make sure you got that lie right. Go ahead. You gotta look at them text messages and see what y'all said. See what you told her.
It's not in here, but it was no.
Why shouldn't you pay for the minutes you use? Because you might have a point outside of committing to a 1-year contract. You shouldn't pay anything other than for the time you used it and for the purchase of the phone itself. And so that's why I went over that. When did you stop using it? How much did you owe on those minutes that you used and hadn't paid?
I missed 2 months.
And so when that happened, she had every right to protect her credit. I don't know why people think that somebody did them wrong when they're trying to protect their credit. Right. This woman, your sister, allowed you, she risked her credit on you. And so we get so many people that saying, I was only 2 months late. Why don't she take the car back? Just for 2 months? You're not thinking about that's why you couldn't get it in your name, because you never pay on time and you don't understand the concept. You obviously don't understand the concept that causes bad credit, late payments. So yes, she had every right to protect her credit. When she saw, okay, this is about to affect my credit. He hadn't paid me in 2 months or this month's bill. Well, let me shut this off before my credit is ruined. Yes, sir, she had every right. She did right. All right, and what about the phone? What's your defense to the phone, sir? Wasn't the phone part of the purchase?
Yes.
And where is the phone? How are you gonna keep it? It's not yours. She paid for it.
It's back in Cleveland.
Right. In your possession instead of giving it back to her. Your counterclaim is for what? What has she done to you? See, you know what I'm saying? You want $3,500. You want twice as much as she does for stopping your damage to her credit. She said, I'm gonna stop you from damaging my credit, little brother. Stop me from damaging your credit, $3,500. So she's trying to stop me from damaging her credit. That's what the money for, trying to stop you from damaging. No. What's the $3,500? What happened?
Harassment.
Harassment?
Plaintiff Stormy Nolan is suing her brother, who claims after Stormy moved away from him, his life went downhill, and he ended up in prison for 10 months.
How did she harass you?
Because she called my probation officer.
Uh-oh. Go
and
ahead.
part of me being out on a judicial release, I must maintain a phone. After she turned it off, she called my probation officer, notified them that I no longer have a phone.
Ma'am?
I did do that. He told me to do it.
He told you to do it for what reason?
Huh? He said, I'm not paying, call my PO.
Huh?
He told me, I had told him, hey, at least return the phone, or I'm gonna have to call your PO and have her to get you to return the phone. He said, I am not paying, call the PO and send me the number.
Let me see that. Sound like self-harassment then. You harassed yourself. You said, call them on me. I'm calling your PO to let them know that you'll soon have a civil suit because you stole the phone, and I'll email over the info. She says, I don't know why you want to take advantage of me, and I've been all you've had, but cool. She said, I've been all you had. Yeah, you couldn't even make it on your own without her, man. How old are you?
I'm 33.
All right. I mean, I applaud you for the work that you do as opposed to complaining about you can't want nobody hire me because I got a record. That's what I hear all the time. But you did the opposite. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, you went out and worked for yourself. So I applaud you for that. I think second chances work. I had a second chance, and I assume it worked out. What you think?
It worked out pretty good.
Your claim is dismissed. Yours is granted. Have a good day.
Oh, we still gonna be close.
Yeah, I mean, brother.
I'm just glad it's over.
So I can stop harassing you.